within the country, if it's, further, if there are provinces or states, then each province or each state again has different set of laws and regulatories to be followed. That's difficult for companies to keep a tab on. Or to add on more, if there are any changes to the legislative, the statutory or the legislations or regulations, if there are any changes, we'll have to keep a tab of those changes and ensure that they are correctly implemented, because there's always a time frame by when those changes need to be implemented in the payroll, and it needs to be implemented, otherwise it might draw huge penalties. Moreover, the tax structures in each of the countries are very unique. The contributions, the social security contributions are different in each countries. The reports, the reporting standards, everything is different. Like every country has its own set of rules, regulations, legislations, the way they report. Keeping a tab of all that, it's a huge hurdle. These are very important to ensure that we run a compliant payroll. And moreover, not only for regular employees, but if there are expats, right, then it makes it even more complicated, because then we'll have to keep a tab on the double treaty agreements between countries and ensure that the employees do not get doubly taxed, which is very, very important. And every country has its own norms that needs to be followed. So unless and until all these are documented and there is a specialized team which monitors this regularly and updates it into the payroll system, it's going to be very difficult to churn out accurate payroll report. So not only that, within the country, amongst various industries, the norms, the regulations differ. That's even more complicated. For example, a manufacturing industry might differ from an ITES or an IT industry, right? There's difference between white collared and blue collared employees. You take one single country and there are so many, different variations in it. And I think every global employer would face this challenge of keeping a tab of the exact statutories that needs to be followed, the changes to the statutories that needs to be followed. That's a huge hurdle. Unless and until you have a centralized system and you have an exclusive team which keeps a tab on all these laws, rules, regulations, keep updating them in the system. And whenever there are changes, getting them implemented within the defined timelines, it's going to be difficult for companies to manage global payroll. Since the teams are completely decentralized, it also becomes difficult for the HR or the finance or the payroll teams to keep a track of all these changing laws across various countries.
I remember years ago when we first started putting employees in other countries, and I had Google alerts set up for like certain things, and it's impossible to do that yourself. Really, it's not easy to do that, and you can't do that yourself. You've got to have a trusted partner to make that go, because I shouldn't have been trusting some automated alert to let me know if our employees that were stationed in the UK or stationed in Saudi Arabia or in other areas of the world, we're gonna run into issues, and trust that was going to keep me apprised of that. So you do have to keep tabs on that. And again, that's what you and the team spend your time on, making sure that employers that y'all work with are kept up to speed. No one gets surprised by something. No one's get caught flat-footed. Everyone's always ready for those things, not as they happen, but before they happen, so they know what to prepare and all those sorts of things. So really, really good inputs there. And even the industry differences piece gave me a little bit of a pause, because I've thought about there are parallels here in the US on certain types of contracts, things like that, where you have to have different benefits for employees based on what the law says. And if you don't know what those are, again, you get caught in a surprise, and not a happy birthday surprise, but a very nasty surprise that comes with a bill attached to it, and fines and all those things.